Good Monday afternoon, everyone. Thanks for stopping by Garden State Weather and GardenStateWeather.blogspot.com, providing superior forecasting for the northern mid-Atlantic region 24 hours a day. I'm forecaster Robert Smith. We're going to do a winter storm video forecast discussion for the ongoing event today, which is winding down over the New Jersey, New York City, Philadelphia metropolitan area. The Delmarva, that's another area that we're going to focus on late this afternoon and tonight. And of course, we're going to focus on the longer term as well. This is for Monday afternoon, the 9th of February, 2015. I'm forecaster Robert Smith. First of all, yesterday on Facebook, I focused the idea around the upper air pattern and the surface observations and how things really weren't going to work out the way that people thought. From a couple of days ago, even last week, the European model guidance, the GFS model guidance, to the most part, had higher snow totals, less ice totals, and finally they started to correct themselves. I have to say that the GFS model, which has been upgraded since January of this year and it's been operational since the middle of January, has done the poorest job at actually representing the precipitation type and forecast for the region. Now, maybe it's because of the algorithms are wrong, the physics are wrong, I don't know. The European model guidance from several days out prior to the event, also not a stellar performer as well. The one model guidance that really stands out is the Canadian GEM and the CMC model guidance. The RGEM and the GEM Canadian model guidance probably outperformed all of the European model guidance and GFS well in advance of this storm. While I don't get much ribbing on Facebook or Twitter or Facebook or whatever, there's a lot of people that aren't following the pattern, and when you don't follow the pattern, things go wrong. The pattern is what it is, and we explain this many times on Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and in the video forecast discussions. Right now, we'll take a look at the canopy of clouds, which is over the New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia metropolitan area. When we look at the water vapor imagery, we can find that the best lifting has now left the region. It's in Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. There's a secondary band here out in Atlantic as well. Knowing that the microphone cut off, we'll follow this. This is the water vapor imagery this afternoon, shows the strongest lift over Rhode Island and interior Massachusetts and Connecticut, and it's leaving us in a drier slot. There's not too much lifting in the mid and upper levels. It's the water vapor channel, folks. This is not the actual precipitation that's falling. We find more lifting across North Carolina, and then again, this is developing into a surface low off the coast. When we look at the mosaic radar here and generally see now all of the snow and ice is lifting into the Connecticut and River Valley and into Massachusetts, where, you know, they've had a tremendous winter here out on the Cape and interior Massachusetts as well, but that doesn't seem to be the case for the northern mid-Atlantic region. We've had a couple of dumpings, but definitely nothing of what we were comparing this winter to earlier, and we described the reason why this wasn't going to be the case ongoing with the current observations in place. Let's go over some of the synoptics here. This is the latest chart from WeatherRoanoke.com and Digital Atmosphere Software from 11:20 this morning. Here is our inverted trough, and we can see the height rises here with the ridge access here over central New York and Pennsylvania, and also including into southeastern Canada. Notice the greatest lift here with the precipitation shield from last hour shift out of northeastern New Jersey and into Connecticut and, of course, Boston, where, you know, they're having a blockbuster season with 30-plus inches of snow this season so far. Now, meanwhile, we have a surface wave which is well to the south here of the Carolinas with the trough access. Here is our nearly stationary front that dropped down south overnight. First, it was over northern New Jersey last night when everybody was watching the Super Bowl, and then it progressed further south. This wave of low pressure is also transferring its energy to off the Carolina and Delmarva coast this afternoon, and this is creating a dry slot for our forecast region, and that looks like it's going to continue for the rest of the event. Now, our good forecasters here at the National Weather Service offices in Upton, out on Long Island, in New York, and Philadelphia and Mount Holly, they've expanded the watches, warnings, and advisories for the entire area, and as a result of that, you know, we've had some snow, we've had some ice, and we've had treacherous travel conditions with Delays at the airports now, which has been ongoing throughout the morning and early afternoon, as to be expected, and ice basically on the ground for much of this forecast region. Now, I don't forecast the National Weather Service. I don't put out the watches, warnings, and advisories. That's your government tax dollars that do this, and it was rightfully so that this would be done. Name it. These areas are the ones that are experiencing the heaviest snow as a result of the isentropic lift and where the warm air advection is occurring, producing these kinds of conditions. We don't have that here in the New Jersey, New York City, Philadelphia metropolitan area. We have not had that for the most part this entire winter, given a storm or two. But then again, the storm diagraphics, the storm diagrams and the actual observations show that the skill scores here from the GFS and European model several days out have been junk. 1220, weatherroanoke.com digital atmosphere software latest map shows the snow once again exiting northeastern New Jersey into Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island. This is where all the lifting is. There's no precipitation back here, folks. The precipitation now lies to the south and east, and as this area of low pressure here expands off the southern mid-Atlantic and northern mid-Atlantic coast states, that's where the precipitation's heading. We're in a dry slot right now, and that's probably going to be the case according to the latest mesoscale models for the remainder of this event. The National Weather Service offices are very busy today. Obviously, the updates on snow totals here in Connecticut, this is where the regions reached anywhere from an inch and a half in Danbury up to about 5.5 inches as of 10:30 this morning in New Haven, or New Fairfield rather, 6.7 inches in Waterbury. This is where the snow is coming down. Now the ice accumulation across Nassau, Oyster Bay, Rockville Center, 0.05 of an inch, 0.10 of an inch, through 7 o'clock this morning. So, the updates here from the National Weather Service have been poor, with the storm reports coming in as well. Storm Prediction Center's mesoscale analysis shows our cold air damming signature. Here is our inverted trough here with the heights increasing from central Pennsylvania up through New York. This is where the precipitation is falling right now. Notice the dry area here. Even though we have cold air damming here, we're having a transfer in the inverted trough here across Pennsylvania down through the Virginias and the Carolinas, and that's transferring off to another low off the coast, and this one will obviously follow. There are several waves here in the water vapor imagery which show that this is going to lead to a much drier solution in the forecast for the remainder of the afternoon and tonight. It doesn't mean it's not going to freeze over, because temperatures are definitely below freezing. If we took a look at the temperature observations right now, and we took out the radar, we can definitely see the cold air at a 32-degree Fahrenheit line lies across most of the New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia metropolitan area. Here's our area of low pressure over the Virginias, and then our second area developing off the coast. Cold air damming situation still in place, but the precipitation is lacking. When we put on the radar, the precipitation is now exiting from the first inverted trough wave over to the north and east, and a second area max across Pennsylvania down through the Virginias, transferring its energy to off the coast. We remain in a dry slot for most of the rest of the region for today and tonight. Why is there a problem with the GFS even though it's been upgraded? Let's take a look at the 12Z model guidance. 12Z Sunday, February 8th. Look at the amounts of snow here. 6, 7, 8, 9 inches of snow across northeastern New Jersey, the lower Hudson Valley, also into the Poconos and northwestern New Jersey. Then, as we move through the nighttime hours, the amounts begin to decrease as it finally finds its nest of salt. By early in the morning this morning, once again, it increases the snow totals over northeastern New Jersey, the New York City, Philadelphia metropolitan area, northeastern New Jersey and Long Island, interior Connecticut, and the Hudson River Valley. This is as of 1 o'clock this morning's run. And then by 12Z this morning, look what happens. It's made a mess. The GFS has been awful this forecast season. The Canadian model from Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning shows the precipitation with a sharp line cutoff here in northeastern Pennsylvania, northwestern New Jersey, the Hudson River Valley. Notice everything to the south of that from Morris County south has been less. If we went into the evening runs of last night from the CMC, it's dropped the amounts of snow. It's been persistent on doing that with putting less snow on the ground and more ice on the ground in these regions, and it corrected itself earlier than the GFS. And of course this morning it brought back some of the snow totals again across northeastern New Jersey into the Hudson River Valley and Connecticut. The forecast problem here is that none of these models have been handling the pattern very well, but the CMC's status scores are far higher than the European model guidance and the GFS at this point. I'm going to get into the video forecast discussion part 2 for what to expect for the rest of the week. We do have a couple of clippers, the GFS showing a secondary wave developing off the coast, bringing more snow to the New York City, Long Island area, southern Connecticut, and of course Massachusetts once again on Friday, Thursday night and Friday. We'll get into that. Why is this pattern not working out? We explained it many, many times. The EPO, the Eastern Pacific Oscillation, is so negative right now. We do have stratospheric warming. I showed this on Facebook. The stratospheric warming is in the wrong location. It's causing, the polar vortex to be on the other side of the pole. Now, we do have a negative NAO. It's not really in the right place. We don't have any subtropical branch influence here because of what's going on in the Pacific right now with our EPO and QBO. So, therefore, the forecast becomes a stream of bifurcation, and it's just a matter of where, these certain situations line up on a day-to-day basis. Video forecast part 2 coming up.